I'm just planning a 2-day trip in Central Otago. It's currently sunny, but looking at the weather it's going to be freezing cold overnight, so hopefully I've got all the right gear that I need, all the warm layers and like proper gloves, puffer jackets and all that kind of stuff, and warm sleeping bag. And now I just need to pack. I've almost finished packing. It's so cold that it's already gone frosty tonight. I've got a fairly basic setup. The only sleeping equipment I have is a sleeping bag. I'll be staying in a hut, and the rest is basically just warm clothing and food. I've just reached the gravel road on the Thompson Gorge track, which will take me all the way into Central Otago over this mountainous saddle. Got about 13 kilometres now, and you could drop me off in Terrace, which is very much appreciated. Behind me is still a thick layer of cloud and fog, but I think I'm above it now, and it looks like the sun's starting to poke itself out of the clouds. It's still a frosty 0 degrees, according to my little temperature sensor that I brought with me. So far so good though. Alright, definitely warming up now. The sun's out. I'm sweating getting up these hills. I think I made these savoury muffins last night and gave me a couple to eat, and now's a good time to eat one. There's a few gold mining operations going on, a few drill rigs. There's one just up here. You can hear the generators and the machinery going. So still very much an active gold mining area. That's why this road was originally opened, to give access to gold mining. It's a really great feeling when you can see the summit, and that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. The summit doesn't look too much further away. It's definitely getting colder despite the sun being out. The sound of the tyres crunching over frozen puddles is actually quite cool. To the left there, that's the Pisa range. Behind that is the Mount Aspiring National Park. Just peeking out is Mount Aspiring itself. Further up we have the Lindis Pass. Behind that, a lot of big mountains by Lake Oho, Mount Cook. This way we have a place called Central Otago, one of the driest, coldest and hottest places. It's quite a barren landscape. Lots of tussock, lots of scrubby kind of plants, matagori, these spiky plants, Spaniard. You don't want to be touching or sitting in one of those accidentally. I know that from experience. I might just walk to the side of this one. Oh, it's muddy. Now that the sun's out, the mud's just quite bad. It's all over me, over the bike, over the gear, but it is what it is. Can't do much about it. Luckily my bike is quite light. Whew. Great.
All good.
Yeah, cheers. Gate number 10. I'm kind of going between lifting my bike over the gates and opening the gates. Alright, so I just made it up to what I'd call the second saddle out of the valley. Directly in front of me is the Central Otago basin, and to my left, the road's namesake, the Thompson Gorge, way down the bottom there. I'm going to be biking down to a little town called St. Bethans. I'm really looking forward to it because there's a cafe there. I can get some nice refreshments and assess how much further I have to go. But I might stop for lunch before that, maybe with a nice view at the top here, out of the wind, in the sun. And yeah, so far so good. I'm 31 kilometers in now. The track's dried off a little bit. Still steep and bumpy, but it's not muddy and slippery and yucky anymore. So that's a good sign. This is my lunch. It's basically just whatever we had at home. And out of the scent, all the way down. Throw the layers on again. The final gate of the day. Probably not of the day. Final gate of this Thompson's Gorge Road. Yes. Left St. Bethans. It was a lovely little place, warmed up and dried off by the fire. So hard to leave that place. Get back on the bike, especially after I checked the map and realised I had 30 k's left to go. Alright, first reapplication of some chain oil. Not sure how long it will be before I cross another river, but I'm starting to get a bit of chain suck, a few weird noises. If I wasn't remote before, then I'm definitely remote now. All that's out here are a couple of farmers that passed me just before. A few sheep, a few cows. Lots of beautiful rolling hills and mountains as far as the eye can see. And me, sweating my way up this hill. And that's about it. It's beautiful. Stunning scenery. It's really tough going up here. No matter where you are on the road, it's just thick, muddy, juicy slime. It's all over the bike. Makes the going really slow because it just sucks on your tyres. So I'm definitely getting quite tired now. No matter which part of the road I go, whether cars have driven over, it's all just shit. Check this out. I've had to stop because my chain's come off. But this is atrocious. I didn't know it would get so bad. Oh well, luckily it's not too much further. And I think there might be a river where I can wash the worst of it off. Not much point putting that chain oil on. I can barely push my bike. The stones stuck onto the tyres are making it really hard. It's just gone 5 p.m. and I've got about 15 kilometres left. After all that slow going through the mud, I'm going to be arriving a little bit later, but I'm not too worried. Got a hut to look forward to, and I've got a little river crossing here, so I might be able to wash my bike a little bit. Not that it will make much of a difference, considering the conditions seem to be the same on the road on the other side. I'm on more of a four-wheel drive track, but it's a bit later in the day. I'm a little bit further up the valley, which means that all the mud and slime that I was getting before is now frozen. Alright, not far away now. Just had a few river crossings to cross that were too deep to kind of walk across or keep your feet dry. So I've got wet feet and it's freezing water, freezing mountain water, snow melt, whatever it is, it's cold. But luckily I'm not far, and at the hut I'll be able to put a change of clothes on, maybe even dry them if there's some firewood there. Unlikely, but one can hope. And I got the light on now, starting to get a little bit dark to see. And I'm here opening the final gate of the day, because over there in the darkness I can see a hut, which is great news. Each river I went across would spray water onto my bike and freeze. I'm looking forward to taking off my shoes, putting some dry socks on, making some miso soup. Finally had a bit of time to organise myself, warm up, clean up, get changed, get the fire roaring and get some dinner started. And it just got me thinking about how today went. And to be honest, all in all, it was a great day. I really enjoyed the remoteness of a lot of what I was riding today. Thompson Saddle is a really beautiful remote backcountry road. It's so nice to arrive at a hut and make it nice and warm up and takes all the stress away from the day, because you know you've gotten to the end, you've reached your target, you feel good because of that, and there's nothing else to worry about. On the menu tonight, curried noodles with lentils and some coconut cream and kind of a brothy sauce, and I might add some tomato paste as well. Got some chocolate for dessert. Alright, so I think I've decided what I'm going to be doing. Head upstream. This will give me about 7 kilometers of uphill until a place close to Omarama, and then that gives me the option of biking back along the main road over Linda's Pass, kind of back to Terrace. Possibly keep my feet dry as the river gets smaller and smaller. The biggest concern with this route is the Linda's Pass. Being winter, it's often icy and with a fairly high volume of traffic on a Friday. So dry feet was definitely a myth, and this is probably about the 3rd river crossing where I've got my feet wet. That's icy water. Trying to wriggle my toes to keep my feet warm, and then eventually when I've reached all the end of the river crossings, I'll put some new socks on and defrost my feet a little bit. Right, about 8 k's in, there's another hut up here. Reached the head of the valley now, and I'm going to be heading up that way, and I can already see the road in front of me. It looks like quite a steady gravel road up to the top of Omarama Saddle. So I've just put dry socks on and warmed up my toes. But dry socks and wet shoes equals wet socks and wet shoes. But at least they won't be as wet and icy as they were before. And with the sun out and a bit of uphill, I think I'll warm up pretty quickly. But it does feel nice to get my feet warmed up. One of those things when something small goes wrong, you start stressing out about it and it kind of takes over everything you're doing. But now that they're warm, it's a lot nicer. Riding through snow is hard work. It's very much like riding through soft sand. Just come over the saddle and the view is incredible. Just got off the phone with Inca and basically I've got 2 hours until Inca finishes work, and then she's going to come and drive and pick me up. So I'll try and get as far as I can over the Lindis Pass, but for now let's enjoy this effort downhill. Wow, that was beautiful. Oh, I love that. Alright, I'm out of the mountains now. Had similar issues with the mud just in the valley there. I'll be heading into this fog soon as well. Not looking forward to that. Alright, I'll just pump up my tyres now as I've reached the road. It looks like most of that mist is dissipating. All the moisture in the air froze onto the plants, which looks incredible. The hoarfrost. Must have been a cold one overnight. Looks like I will be heading into some mist, and that's pretty much where the road is, so hopefully it clears. I think the further up the valley I go, the more it will clear. Made it most of the way up the pass, and I think I can see Inca coming down to pick me up. So she beat me, but she left work early, and I guess I'm just lucky to have someone to pick me up. Almost missed me, typical. And there's my lift. Awesome.